Hey there, what is going on this weekend? And I'm back and out here at my man cavern on the back 20 at Sweet Tea Farm. It's August 15th and it's hot up in here. I'm about ready for fall, man. It's a little steamy out here. Anyway, tell you a little story about there's this woman, wife, mother, had some kids, and her husband. See, he was in prison. He'd been there for a couple of years. And she had written letters, made phone calls, emails to the governor trying to get her to pardon her husband. So eventually, after a lot of that, she finally got her day. So she goes down there, sits and waits in the lobby for about 2 hours, and she finally gets to go talk to the governor. She sits down and she says, "I need you to get my husband out of prison." And he says, "Well, I don't know. I'll see what I can do." "Well, how long has he been in prison?" She says, "Well, he's been there for about 2 years. And he says, "Well, what'd your husband do?" And she said, "Well, he stole 12 hams. And the governor said, "Well, 2 years, that's quite a while for just stealing 2 hams. Well, was he a good husband?" And she said, "Well, come to think of it, he never really said many nice things to me at all. So, not really." And he says, "Well, was he a good worker?" And she said, "No, actually he was kind of lazy. I don't really ever remember him holding a steady job at all." And the governor says, "Well, was he a good father?" And she said, "No, not really. He never even paid much attention to the kids, and only when he was drunk, and then he was just mean to them." And the governor says, "Well, then why would you want me to get this man out of prison?" And she says, "Well, because we're almost out of ham." Now, let me tell you, folks, there is a right way to do things, and there is a wrong way to do things. 1 Peter 3:14 says, "But even if you should suffer for what is right, you are blessed. Do not fear their threats, and do not be frightened." As Christians, from time to time, we are faced with crises, bad times, bad events going on, whether they're self-inflicted or not. And, you could call the state of the world we're in right now, it's kind of a bit of a crisis. And it's at those times that we are tempted to give in to our fears and make the wrong decisions. And yes, if we try to do what's right, our enemies might hurt us, but they cannot harm us. And what I'm talking about here is the long run. Okay, in the long run, they can hurt us, but they can't harm us because only we can harm ourselves if we fail to trust God and trust what He told us is right. And you got to stand your ground on that. Okay, God is a God of justice, and He is paying attention. I'm talking about God's definition of justice here, and that everyone eventually is going to get what they deserve. What goes around comes around, and eventually everyone will get what's coming to them. So make sure you're doing what is right no matter what. Again, 1 Peter 3:14 says, "But even if you should suffer for what is right, you are blessed. Do not fear their threats. Do not be frightened." So go with confidence and stand with God. And I'll see you later. That's your devotion for this weekend.